Oh, I have a terrible smile. Oh, God. Hello and welcome to the Daily Faded. My name is Hetz, and this is where we get faded daily and talk about the news and politics of the day. And oh my lord, there is a lot to talk about tonight. So pull up a chair, pull out a smoke, and join me. This is TDF number 102. Today is September 28th, 2020. Time to pay the taxes. Lord have mercy. Donald Trump's tax returns in a bombshell article in the New York Times. No doubt you've heard of it by now. I imagine just about every person in the country has heard about it, or at least anyone who pays any attention at all to news. Except maybe if they just watch Fox News. But it's an amazing story, and we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. And but let's get started where we always start. Let's talk about COVID-19 cases. So we see here that the world is up to 33.5 million confirmed coronavirus cases, while the death toll worldwide is now over 1 million people. In the United States, we're at 7.3 million confirmed cases. And notably, we have 22,202 confirmed cases per million people, while the world as a whole has only 4,313 confirmed cases per million people. So we are way out in front, with only countries like Brazil competing with us in that metric. We're at 209,759 deaths in the United States. We had a low reported number of deaths yesterday of 306, but we noticed that we always get low reports on Mondays for some reason, something to do with the reporting. And then, of course, we always like to check in with the California, and I'm also going to look at Florida tonight. California here we see has 813,000 confirmed cases so far, 15,639 deaths, and only 30 deaths being reported yesterday. That's a relatively good number, and it's an improvement over where we were. We'll see if it holds or not. At some point, it's going to hold, but it's been vacillating a bit. And yeah, so we're still in that holding spot that we've been talking about of 35 to 45,000 new cases a day, and I think that's just downright dangerous. So we'll see. I won't bore you guys with talking about that again. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that Florida has had 701,000 cases, which is the third highest number of cases. And you have to see this tweet, which includes a video that is going to be silent for you. Ron DeSantis opened all Florida bars Friday. They are celebrating at Elbow Room in Fort Lauderdale. And look at this. How crazy is this? These people are all going to catch COVID-19. You got one guy, a barback with a face shield. Barbacks have masks, but anyway, that's just crazy. That's just crazy video. When I saw that, I thought, oh my God. And then there was some COVID news out of the White House today. Caitlin Collins tweeted, as President Trump repeats the U.S. is rounding the corner when it comes to the pandemic, Vice President Pence says the American people should anticipate that cases will rise in the days ahead. They also announced a $100 or $150 million program of instant tests by one of the testing companies that they're going to be passing out for free to high-risk populations. Notice they're taking government money and using it to provide a resource to the people for free. That would be how socialism works. And it just goes to show that with domestic politics, the answer is almost always socialism. In my personal opinion, I think the one thing we have found out consistently is that the so-called free market, which is just not what it is at all, we have a fully subsidized market in this country, in which the United States government may as well own the companies because they own all of they've paid for all of their debt. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a socialistic approach to be like, let's give it to everyone for free, you know? Anyway, the best thing about Trump's little press conference today was that he didn't take any questions. And he looked beaten down and he looked incapable of taking questions. And this is going to be a short show tonight because I am crashing hard. But let's get into the New York Times and this bombshell article. Long concealed records show Trump's chronic losses and years of tax avoidance. Donald J. Trump paid $750 in federal income taxes the year he won the presidency. In his first year in the White House, he paid another $750. He had paid no income taxes at all in 10 of the previous 15 years, largely because he reported losing much more money than he made. As the president wages a re-election campaign that polls say he is in danger of losing, his finances are under stress, beset by losses and hundreds of millions of dollars in debt coming due that he has personally guaranteed. Also hanging over him is a decade-long audit battle with the IRS over the legitimacy of a $72.9 million tax refund that he claimed and received after declaring huge losses. Adverse ruling could cost him more than $100 million. Republicans, you never get to talk about takers again. Republicans must immediately retire that talking point because their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, is the biggest taker of them all. $73 million in a tax refund. Unbelievable. Think of what kind of good that money could have done being applied to just about anything else. Oh, God. You know when you get tired and your eyes feel incredibly heavy, like you might just fall asleep, like when you're driving? That's how my eyes feel right now. But I'm going to press on forward. The tax returns that Mr. Trump has long fought to keep private tell a story fundamentally different from the one he has sold to the American public. His reports to the IRS portray a businessman who takes in hundreds of millions of dollars a year, yet racks up chronic losses that he aggressively employs to avoid paying taxes. Now, with his financial challenges mounting, the records show that he depends more and more on making money from businesses that put him in potential and often direct conflict of interest with his job as president. So, the New York Times got over 20 years of tax returns from Donald Trump. And it appears to show that he's both a terrible businessman and a tax cheat, and someone who has paid more taxes to foreign countries than he has to the United States. In his first 2 years in the White House, they report, His revenue from abroad totaled $73 million, which included licensing deals in countries with authoritarian-leaning leaders or thorny geopolitics, to use New York Times words. For example, $3 million from the Philippines, $2.3 million from India, and $1 million from Turkey. I would say we need an investigation as to whether or not state actors played any role in those deals coming together. Did Trump talk to Modi about Trump Mumbai or whatever that property is? Trump also at one point received we just mentioned this, $73 million tax refund. He reported paying taxes in turn on a number of his overseas ventures. In 2017, the president's $750 contribution to the operations of the U.S. government was dwarfed by the $15,598 he and his companies paid in Panama, the $145,000 in India, and the $156,824 in the Philippines. So this douchebag is paying more in taxes to Duterte than he is to the country that he runs. When are Republicans going to wake up to the cons that this person is? The level of detail that we're getting out of these tax returns, there's no way in hell they're fake. You can't make up someone's tax returns. Please, how can you do that? That's ridiculous. They'll believe anything, these rubes. Mr. Trump's net income from his fame, his 50% share of The Apprentice, together with the riches showered upon him by the scores of suitors paying to use his name, totaled $427.4 million through 2018. A further $176.5 million in profit came to him through his investment in 2 highly successful office buildings. So $427 million he made from The Apprentice. That is because of the deal he was given by the head of the network, Jeff Zucker. And Jeff Zucker made him rich, made him richer, whatever. Also made him a celebrity and the guy who is supposed to be the competent one in the room on The Apprentice. So they created a completely fake Donald Trump. And then Jeff Zucker, what did he do? He went on to become the head of CNN, where he gave many hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in free airtime to Donald Trump. So remember when they hired those Trump people to be consultants, to be analysts on CNN? It didn't go so well. This was interesting. Consider the results of his largest golf resort. This is getting into his bad business stuff. Trump National Doral near Miami. Mr. Trump bought the resort for $150 million in 2012. Through 2018, his losses have totaled $162.3 million. He has pumped $213 million of fresh cash into Doral, tax records show, and has a $125 million mortgage balance coming due in 3 years. He's a terrible businessman. I mean, apparently it's a bad time for golf resorts anyway, golf courses, whatever. But this guy's just a terrible businessman. And this argument for Trump's election, one of the main arguments was the country's got to get run like a business. We need a businessman to run the country. No, a country doesn't have to operate at a profit. Private enterprises have to operate at a profit. In fact, a government is supposed to operate at a loss. Because if it is making money, that money belongs to the American people, not to the government. So Ivanka Trump had been paid an executive officer of the Trump companies that received profits from and paid the consulting fees for 2 projects, meaning she appears to have been treated as a consultant on the same hotel deals that she helped manage as part of her job at her father's business. Apparently, by paying her this 750 million, or was it 750,000? I don't know, $750,000 as a consultant, it became a tax write-off that it wouldn't have if it was paid out in wages. So that's another form of tax fraud right on its face. I've seen a lot of takes on this during the day today. You know, as usual, I was watching news stuff all day long, and I couldn't get enough of this story because it's humiliating to Trump, and that just feels good because I accept Schadenfreude when it comes to Donald Trump. But anyway, so let's look at this great article from Mashable. This is from earlier today. Did you ever imagine you'd be paying more in federal income taxes than President Donald Trump? You might think the majority of hardworking middle and lower class Americans who would pay far less in taxes than someone like Trump, who appears to be a successful billionaire. But a recent New York Times report finds that isn't the case at all. Many people were very unhappy to learn of Trump's extremely low and in some years fully non-existent income tax payments. Teachers, healthcare professionals, and other hardworking, deeply discouraged Americans aired their frustrations about how their tax bills compared to Trump's on social media. This first one tweeted by Matt Tullis. My wife and I'm a professor, my wife is a 5th grade teacher, paid 24 times more in federal income taxes than Trump in 2017. This one from Megatron. I pay more in 1 month than he does in a year. I'm a teacher with $100,000 student loan debt. I just love hearing from normal Americans about their perspective on this. Kevin Seif tweeted, the average undocumented immigrant in the United States pays more federal income taxes than the president. Here's a very good one. How much do essential workers pay in personal federal income tax? Sample, truck driver, $9,000, rancher, $8,000, ER nurse, $7,000, teacher, $6,000, sanitation work, $3,000, Army sergeant, $2,000, cashier, $1,000, Trump, $750. Kaylee Rochelle tweeted, I paid over $750 in taxes in the 2.5 months I spent working at Bath and Body Works. It's kind of funny. And then we get some politicos chiming in. Elizabeth Warren tweeted, the president pays less in taxes than struggling families, and he's proud of it. He thinks teachers and janitors should pay to keep our country running, not billionaires and giant corporations. It is long past time to make rich and powerful guys like Trump pay their fair share. Federal taxes paid first year in office. Ronald Reagan, $165,000. George H.W. Bush, $101,000. Bill Clinton, $62,000. George W. Bush, $250,000. Barack Obama, $1.7 million. Donald Trump, $750. And one last one here from Ian Bremmer, who I won't talk about because I don't really like him, but he makes a good point here. 2017 federal income taxes jointly with spouse, Biden, $3.7 million, Harris, $517,000, Sanders, $344,000, Warren, $269,000, Trump, $750. Boy, that post-presidency cash has paid Biden off well, hasn't it? So, look, you can just see that this has been a crazy fucking news cycle. And it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay, look, I'm going to call it early because I'm falling asleep. Thank you guys for watching. There's one thing left that I want to tell you, which is I've come up with a strategy for Joe Biden to win the debate. Now, he's not going to do it tomorrow night, I suspect, but I'm hoping I can get the idea to his people by the next debate. And this is what I think Joe Biden should do. When Donald Trump says that Joe Biden is not fit to be president, Joe Biden should say, you want to talk about who's fit to be president and who's not fit? And he should drop to the ground and do 10 push-ups right then and there, which I think Joe Biden can possibly do. I don't know if he worked out as hard as RBG. But I just think Trump would look so small in a large Trumpian kind of way. Anyway, thank you for watching. Peace out. I will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Pacific after the debate.